7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Hey everyone, this is Buddy back with another episode of Kicks of the Week, where we talk about shoes on this shoe podcast-like video that more is, like I said in the last video, the kind of audio version, not as much of a cinematography kind of like super focused video or whatever. If you guys missed last week's episode, it was interesting. It was our first episode, so go check that out. Maybe after this one, if this one piques your interest or something. But basically, we're going to be looking at Nike's running shoe lineup this week. So Nike has a pretty different kind of reputation in the running shoe game. I mean, they've got their shoes that were almost considered to be banned from the Olympics because they helped your time so much. And then they've also got their slew of people not recommending Nike for running shoes just because the majority or something thinks that they give your feet problems or injury prone or things like that. Basically, let's take a look at kind of what Nike's newest bread and butter lineup for their running shoes are. And this is pretty much the three top categories for their running shoes right now. You have the Zoom series with this kind of foam in the bottom. You got their React foam in the bottom. And then you have the Joyride, or the beads, balls, kind of like cushioning system in the bottom. And these are pretty much the three newest and most up-to-date and best running shoes, supposedly. Now, going off of this shoe I featured last week in the episode. This is the Joyride Run, and I told last week why I thought that these shoes were not a running shoe, and these shoes were more of a comfort shoe. I think that they're super comfy and they're just amazing to wear every single day, but I don't think they're a running shoe, mainly because of this traction. There's not a lot of traction on these shoes, and they wear out quite quickly with the traction that they even do have. The beads don't provide really a repulsive kind of force back to your foot to kind of boost you into that next stride. It kind of just lessens the impact compared to these other shoes. So these React foams is a little bit stiffer than these, and it kind of shoots that force back at you. So kind of rolls you forward a little bit more onto the ball of your foot and the toes, so that when you hit down and then go to your toe, it kind of springs you kind of forward a little bit because the foam's designed in a certain way that kind of makes your foot want to go a little bit further. Now, these are, I think, like the second or third designed foam for the React shoes, and these React Infinity, these are actually a certain kind of shoe that starts at $160, and this is the top of the line model of that. So Nike does have a lot of shoes that look like the top of the line models, but cut corners in certain spots, so they aren't the top model. They don't have exactly the same foam, they don't have exactly the same shoe, and that's where I think a lot of people get into trouble, is that they think that they're buying a top of the line running shoe that's XYZ feel, when really they're kind of using a cheaper shoe that Nike also puts out for those that don't want to spend that much on shoes, that don't want to run as much that you can with these compared to another shoe. For example, Nike has the Nike Renew Run, which start at $90, that look extremely similar to these, but now some of them are even on sale for $70. They look very similar, but they're not the exact model that this is. Now, it looks very similar, but it's not. You're not getting the same product that you are with these. And so that really matters, especially when you're running. Going up to these are the Zoom Fly 3s. This is especially the New York City edition. It's got an apple, a city with an apple Nike sign, you know, the big apple for New York City. These start at the same $160 price, just like these did, but now these are kind of on sale, I think, for around $140 or something. Basically, this is one of your top of the line Zoom cushioning systems. Now, they do have their Next Percent kind of line that's like the top of the line, $250 starting price, best of the best running shoes, but for the most part, this is the top of the line model that you're going to get from the Zoom series. So this foam is completely different than the React foam. It's much, in my opinion, it's much cushier. It provides a way more bounce back into your foot. So like when you roll forward and you feel way more cushion in the toes, way more cushion, I'd say everywhere, and kind of just that spring-loaded cushion. So this one, you get a lot more feedback through your foot when you're running. Now the top material is much less rigid than the Reacts. These, it's kind of like a Flyknit sort of design. It's lightweight, but it's nowhere near this kind of like basically mesh just kind of covers your top of the foot kind of feel. I mean, this thing, if any stuff gets on, like say water, your feet are instantly soaked with this, whereas this you got a little bit more absorption. But this also has different heel support than this one. It's less rigid, like I said, and it's also got some of these inline little cushioning things that kind of try to hold your heel in place a little bit more so it doesn't slip. Now, I've had where if I don't tighten these shoes enough, my heel does slip on the inside a little bit, only on the right foot, so it could just be, you know, person to person. But it's also interesting to mention that these shoes are very different with the kind of underlying sole on them, not in just a cushion standpoint, but from a width perspective. So looking at these two shoes, this sole of the Zoom Flies is extremely small compared to the React. I mean, looking at these bottom to bottom or whatever, you can tell this thing, I mean, just covers your heel and a little bit extra, whereas the Reacts have probably almost like an inch more coverage on the sides. So, and even on the back, it just widens out so much more than the Zooms. And so that also makes a huge difference, because that means that if you are, say, a messy runner or having tight turns or something like that, these shoes could become an issue if you can't keep those feet in line with your track and racing and whatever. Because if you step on the side of, say, the path or the street or something, or catch something a little weird, your foot could completely just have to rely completely on this mesh siding to not let your ankle just completely destroy itself, because there's little to no outward heel support on this shoe. Whereas on this shoe, you got a lot of support. Even the front of this, the ball of your feet just goes out so much wider, so much more impact released off the sides of this foam than directly back into your foot. And so these shoes also, I think, are going off the wideness, just like, or the Infinities are just, the Joyrides are just like the Reacts with as far as the wideness goes. Now, I like all three of these shoes. I would definitely recommend these two for running. They have completely different feels. People say that these actually were designed to have less injury than their previous models, which was interesting. But that's not to say that you get injuries with the other models. It just depends on, I think, a lot of your running stuff. These shoes are an ounce lighter than these, which is an ounce lighter than these. So these are the lightest, second lightest, third lightest, but the only difference between these are a couple ounces either way. So that's kind of nice to know. Also with day-to-day use, because I think these you could wear every single day and be fine, for comfort purposes, the Joyrides that is. Now I think the Reacts are the same way. You could probably wear these anywhere, all the time, however you want to. They're just that comfy and that good of a shoe to want to wear, and they provide a great support and have a good look to them. They don't really scream like I'm about to start running. They have a little bit of that, but not too much. The Zoom Flies are definitely that kind of I'm about to go running look. These things look like you're a serious runner. These things look like I know what good running shoes are, and these are good for me, and I can run fast in them, da-da-da-da. I think these are definitely a screaming running shoe. So for that reason, I don't think they're an everyday wear. For another reason, I don't think the cushioning system is good enough for everyday wear. I think that it's a little bit tough to want to wear this every single day, or as like a comfort shoe like the Joyrides, because there's not as much support on the heel, on the sides of your foot. Normally when you're running in a straight line for a period of time, and that'll be great for these. If you want to kind of be a little bit more agile, have to do different things in the shoes, you know, things that you do every day that you don't necessarily plan for to do, say stretching one way to get something, or putting your foot up somewhere to climb a high rock or something, say you got to get over somewhere when you're just walking around on, say, like your backyard or something. I really can't recommend these, because these are definitely a little bit more dangerous to use every day, just because if you step on things the wrong way, if your heel kind of slips and goes the wrong way, these things, they could really hurt you compared to either the other shoes, and especially not the Joyride. That's been it for this video, guys. If you guys have questions that you'd want answered in the next episode or in other videos are covered, let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think of the sneaker podcast. If you guys want to continue it, make sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Hit that big red subscribe button so you stay updated with all of our future videos. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.